I have a very narrow technocratic answer and then a larger answer that I hope you will like. Thank you for, first of all, again, I say again, as I said to the gentleman over here, the people who invented this stuff have left us with this really intractable problem. Materials that if you get anywhere near them, they're going to poison you. And that will exist for, again, thousands, hundreds of thousands, in some cases, depending on the kind of nuclear element, millions of years into the future. And that's a real problem. I can't even read Chaucer in the original because the language, the English language, was so different 800 years ago. Am I doing my math right? 800 years ago. And we're talking about larger timescales. So I certainly don't have the answer to how can we communicate to our hypothetical future descendants 100,000 years from now. But that leads to the second thing that I'd like to say in response to yours, which is that, and in some ways, maybe this is something that I could say also to this last young lady who talked so much about education and children. How about some real education about thinking in the really long term, in realizing that the world that we live in today is not going to last for 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years in the future. I really would like to see children taught to think much more imaginatively about the really long-range human prospect. And this, if I can get back to my thing and my postcard and the third question that I've tried to tackle today, it's not exactly an answer to your question, but I think it's in the same realm of a long-term time frame. Think about arms races, I mean, every time you turn around, they're inventing some kind of new laser weapon, nuclear weapons are the most abominable, horrific, repulsive thing invented by the human race so far. But God knows, technological change, even with your smartphones, is happening so fast, and it's happening just as fast in the weaponry realm. But we just seem to assume, without even thinking about it, that regardless of what is invented, 10 years or 50 years or 90 years from now, we'll have to build it, because if we don't build it, the Chinese will build it. And over in China, they'll say, well, we have to build it, because if we don't, the Americans will build it. And just that notion that the human race is condemned to just whatever the scientists come up with in the weapons realm, every separate sovereign country has to make it, because if they don't, somebody else will. I am unwilling to concede that that's the highest and best form of social and political organization and imagination that we can ever aspire to. So let's think very long-term imaginatively about not only what to do about this damned nuclear waste, but about the problem of war itself.